In 1968, a mother moved to her old family home in the countryside with her 4 kids, leaving England behind for a fresh start. She told them to let go of their dark history and create new, happier memories. She decided they would no longer go by the name Fairbairn but would instead adopt her maiden name, Marrowbone. The youngest child, feeling unsure, asked if they could be found by someone from their past, but the mother reassured him they were safe now. This marked the beginning of a joyful period in their new home, where they were unknown and free to explore. During a walk near the forest, they stumbled upon a strange formation of rocks shaped like a skull. Here they met a girl named Allie, who quickly became a close friend. Over the next few months, the Marrowbone siblings and Allie enjoyed many adventures together, finding peace they hadn't known before. But then sorrow hit them again when their mother became severely ill. With no money for treatment, she soon passed away. Before dying, she made her oldest son, Jack, promise to look after his siblings and not to reveal her death until he was 21, the legal age to care for them. She directed him to a hidden box with their father's money, her final secret. After her death, Jack shared his mother's last wishes with his siblings Billy, Jane, and the youngest, Sam, urging them to always stick together. They buried their mother and continued living in secrecy at the Marrowbone house. One quiet day, Jane's tranquility was shattered by a gunshot that broke her window, revealing a man with a rifle outside. Terrified, she called for Jack. The narrative then skips forward 6 months, showing the siblings had adapted to a new normal, hiding or covering all mirrors in the house to protect themselves from what they believed was a ghost in the attic. Despite believing he has left for good, the siblings choose to keep the mirrors out of sight, not wanting to risk any surprises. Jack, the eldest, occasionally tries to inspect the attic, but is overwhelmed by intense headaches that force him to stop. Jack is the only one among them who ventures outside to gather necessities. On a trip to a nearby town, he stops at a pharmacy to pick up medicine, pretending it's for his mother, thus keeping her passing a secret. There's a noticeable injury on Jack's head, though how it happened remains unclear. Later, Jack visits the local library, where Allie, his romantic interest, works as a librarian. Allie assists Jack in selecting books for his youngest brother, Sam's homeschooling. However, their conversation is interrupted by the sudden appearance of the town lawyer, Porter, who secretly harbors feelings for Allie and often visits her. Seeing Jack and Allie together, Porter grows jealous. Porter then informs Jack that he is responsible for the Marrowbone estate and plans to visit their house the next day to collect the transfer fees and their mother's signature, which would officially transfer the estate into their names. Jack tries to dissuade him, claiming his mother's severe illness, but Porter insists on verifying her signature in person, mentioning the transfer fee of $200. Upon returning home, Jack shares the troubling news with his siblings, fearing they could be split up if their mother's death is discovered. They also lack the funds for the transfer fee. Billy proposes using the money their mother left, despite Jane's objections, based on a promise they made to never use it. Nevertheless, faced with no alternative, they retrieve the previously discarded box from a hidden spot in the woods, where Billy also finds a knife. Opening the box at home, they discover a significant amount of cash, relieving the brothers but distressing Jane, who views the money as cursed due to its association with their father. The next day, the siblings start fixing up the house, attempting to present themselves as a typical family. Jane is given the job of mimicking her mother's signature, so she dedicates several hours to perfecting it. Meanwhile, Jack enters his mother's bedroom to collect some of her things, but he doesn't allow little Sam to come inside. When Porter, the lawyer, arrives at their home, Jack welcomes him and hands over an envelope with £200, a sum that pleases the lawyer since it's more valuable than $200. Jack then explains that his mother is too sick and would feel ashamed to be seen, asking Porter to hand over the paperwork so he can have his mother sign them upstairs and bring them back down. The lawyer hesitantly agrees and Jack rushes to his mother's room. However, Jane's anxiety spikes upon finding out she needs to sign not just 1, but 2 documents. At the same moment, Porter decides to wander around the house, finding it odd that no one else is visible. He uncovers a mirror he finds covered near the stairs, then heads towards the mother's room. Jack, hearing the lawyer's approach, urges his sister to sign the papers quickly. They successfully complete the signatures just in time to avoid Porter's discovery. After signing the documents himself, the lawyer finalizes the estate's transfer to their names. Before he leaves, Porter mentions their father's notorious past, revealing he knows the Marrowbone family's full story. That evening, the siblings celebrate their victory by playing a pirate-themed board game. Billy's excitement causes him to accidentally toss his dice into another room. Sam goes to retrieve it, but the covering on the mirror near the stairs falls off, scaring him into believing the ghost has returned. In a state of panic, Jack quickly hides his siblings in a makeshift fortress inside the house. While they wait anxiously, Jack manages to cover the mirror again. However, as he glances through a hole in the ceiling, he loses consciousness. Regaining his senses later inside the fortress, Jack learns from Billy that he had to carry him back after he was found unconscious. Convinced that their troubles have returned because they used the cursed money, Jane decides it's best to get rid of it. The next day, Billy climbs onto the roof, opens the chimney, and drops the box of money into the attic, believing it will appease the supposed ghost. Meanwhile, Porter encounters Allie on her way to work and convinces her to accept a lift from him. During the drive, he voices his concerns about the Marrowbone siblings' isolation from the community, mentioning that little Sam doesn't attend school. Allie corrects him, explaining Sam is homeschooled and she regularly reviews his work. Porter suggests their reclusive lifestyle stems from their father's influence, describing him as more than just cruel. That night, Jack teaches Sam to communicate with Allie using Morse code by flashing lights from a window, bringing joy to them as they converse with their friend. The following day, Jack and Allie share a moment near the beach where Allie probes Jack about his father. Jack reluctantly admits his father was a terrible man responsible for their flight to America and reassures her he's no longer a threat as he's dead. Their intimate moment is spoiled when Porter, watching from a distance, grows envious. Back at home, Jack faces Billy's frustration over the unequal freedom within their household, accusing Jack of neglecting their pact only to meet Allie. Their disagreement leaves Jack feeling unusually weak. That evening, while Jack bathes, Sam seizes the opportunity to explore their late mother's room, driven by longing. He disobeys Jack's rule against entering the room, where all the mirrors remain shrouded and hidden, longing to feel closer to their mother. Attempting to close the curtains, Sam slips and falls, causing a mirror cover to drop and reveal what seems like a ghost in the reflection. Shortly after, Jack is woken up by his siblings' panic. Jane tells him Sam went into their mother's room and encountered the ghost, who is revealed to be their father. The siblings had trapped him in the attic, blocking the entrance, leaving him to die of starvation, thinking it was the end of his threats. Jane believes giving their father a proper burial might calm his spirit, but Jack strongly disagrees with the idea. Meanwhile, at the library, Porter visits Allie again, announcing he's been promoted and will move to a new city. He invites Allie to join him, promising a better life, but she declines, making it clear she doesn't see him romantically. Porter, suspecting her feelings for Jack, leaves her a case file revealing their father, Mr. Fairbairn, was a murderer and had escaped prison after being convicted with Jack's testimony. Back at the house, Jane is startled by her pet raccoon's distress from the attic. When she tries to feed it through a wall gap, a horrifying touch from the other side frightens her, and her pet is pulled into the darkness. Concurrently, Porter learns his job transfer has been canceled, but he's offered a partnership if he can invest $5,000, which he doesn't have. Frustrated, he discovers a news piece about the missing PS 10,000 stolen by Mr. Fairbairn, deducing the siblings might have it. He confronts Jack at their home, threatening to reveal their secret unless they give him the PS 10,000 as hush money. After Porter leaves, Jack enters the house to find his siblings filled with concern. He explains that retrieving the money box from the attic is impossible, ending their chances. However, Billy isn't ready to give up. That night, when the house is quiet, Billy makes his way to the roof. He opens the chimney hatch, secures himself with a rope, and descends into the attic. With a lit matchstick, he discovers the grim sight of partially eaten animals and a makeshift water collection system. He finds the money box and prepares to leave, but is startled by a noise. Emerging from the darkness is their father, somehow still alive. In a frantic effort to escape, Billy struggles up the rope as his father pulls from below, tangling him. The money box falls back into the attic, but Billy manages to free himself with a knife and returns to the rooftop. Come morning, Jack awakens on the ground, injured and confused. He finds Billy badly hurt, who tells him of his failed attempt to get the money and the shocking survival of their father, living off rainwater and rodents. The news overwhelms Jack to the point of collapsing and seizing. Jane soothes him, yet realizes the gravity of his condition and suggests revealing their story to Allie, believing she might be their last hope. That night, they signal Allie with Morse code requesting her presence at the Skulls. Anticipating their reunion, Allie arrives the next day only to find a book titled Our Story outlining the family's journey to America and their life there. Meanwhile, Porter visits the Marrowbone home to claim his money, but finds the house abandoned and unsettlingly quiet. Seizing the chance, he explores their mother's room, confirming her death, which the siblings had concealed. Shortly after, Porter discovers the sealed entrance to the attic, suspecting the siblings stashed the money there. He grabs a hammer and begins to dismantle the wall. Meanwhile, Allie delves deeper into the book, arriving at a section describing a mysterious man firing at the house. Jack, the eldest, secures his siblings in the attic to confront their father alone. He attempts to distract him with the money box, luring him into the forest. There, Jack pleads with his father to take the money and leave them be. However, Fairbairn, driven by vengeance, attacks, leading Jack to defend himself, ultimately pushing his father off a cliff. Regaining consciousness with injuries, Jack hurries to the attic, only to find silence. Back in the present, Porter breaches the attic, uncovering the decaying remains of Billy, Jane, and Sam. It's revealed that after discovering his siblings' demise, Jack sealed the attic, planning to end his life, only to hallucinate their voices. Investigating, he imagines them alive, prompting him to cover all mirrors to avoid facing reality. This twist explains Jack's solitary interactions with the outside world, under the belief his siblings are still with him. Upon discovering the tragic story of the Marrowbone siblings, Allie is moved to tears. Attempting to bring Jack back to reality, she faces his denial and anger, insisting she leave. Undeterred, Allie notices the attic's breached entrance and ventures inside, where she stumbles upon the siblings' decaying remains and a gravely injured Porter. It's then she senses she's not alone, and before she can escape, Fairbairn, emaciated and dangerous, traps her inside. Facing their father, kept prisoner in the attic, Allie calls for Jack, who doesn't respond. Desperate, she appeals to the personas Jack has created within himself. As Fairbairn attacks Allie, Jack intervenes at the last moment, ending his father's reign of terror with a gunshot. Time passes, and the film reveals Allie has chosen to remain by Jack's side, lovingly caring for him. A doctor advises regular medication to suppress his alternate personalities, but Allie chooses to ignore this, understanding Jack finds comfort in the presence of his siblings. Jack watches his younger siblings play in the fields, content in his belief that they are still a united family, together in spirit if not in reality. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.